Hello, classmates and Dr. T. This is Nicole Dalton, and this is my Week 8 Multimedia Discussion Board for MPA 585 Political Economy. In this week's discussion board, I will cover 5 things that I have learned throughout this course. One of the biggest things that I learned throughout this course is the government's role in the United States economy. And Adam Smith believed that in the Wealth of Nations that a free market was going to be most successful, which I do agree with, but without the government's involvement in our United States economy, when we hit things like recession, we need the government's help to reinvigorate the economy, like we saw during the pandemic and all the stimulus checks to keep money flowing throughout our marketplace. So it's interesting to see where government could be involved and maybe less involved in some areas, depending on what your personal opinion is. Next was internalizing externalities. I think we're all aware of when you go to a campsite or you live in an HOA, there's going to be certain rules and regulations that are set for, the overall good of that place. But I didn't realize that it had a name and that it actually has its place in our economic system because they can maintain their own negative externalities within the system, which doesn't need government assistance to help support those negative externalities. The next thing is I thought it was really interesting learning more about public goods and how the government can provide those services to the public at large so we can all live healthier and safer lives, and without government involvement the marketplace wouldn't support these kinds of services. So some of the main public goods that we are all familiar with is education, national defense, public infrastructure like roads, and then obviously public safety services that our fire and police departments provide. Learning about tax avoidance and shifting income taxes was super surprising to me. I hadn't been aware of it before, so it makes sense the fact that somebody who's in a very high income tax bracket wants to be at a lower income tax bracket, so they shift their income to maybe their kids or something. And I just thought it was a really interesting concept, and I see why people try to do it and also why the government tries to implement policy to deter people from making those kinds of choices. And lastly is government failures. Obviously, I've stated government involvement in our economy is essential, but not always is the government successful in trying to be involved in our local economy. And some of the reasons why the government will fail is because of lack of information, limited control over private market responses, limited control over bureaucracy, and limitations imposed on political processes. So it was interesting to have a better grasp on why the government isn't always successful in their efforts. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Good luck to all of you as you finish up your papers for this class, and congratulations to those of us who are graduating this semester.